My name's Joe Walker. I'm a film editor. I'm on my fourth film with Steve McQueen, and you might know me as well for my work with Denis Villeneuve. I cut Sicario, Arrival, and Blade Runner 2049, and due hopefully to work with him again next year. For the longest time, I couldn't work out as a teenager which I was more interested in, being in a band or playing around with 8mm movies and things like that. So it's always been, one of my earliest memories is playing 8mm films slow and putting on Wagner slow and kind of getting depressed. So, that kind of marriage of sound and film is important to me. I think it's very useful to have an alertness to music, if nothing else, to help you dissect which is the best take of an actor's performance, for example, the melody or the rhythm of things. And rhythm is, with the kind of drummer of the ensemble in many ways. And I think not just in the moment of a scene, but also globally in the pace generally of scenes and acts and the whole film. I think story is the biggest thing. I think having a kind of interest in telling a story and working out how to tell a story better than it is. Most of what we're doing is working on something that worked on the page, but the page and the screen are not the same thing. And sometimes something that reads as a real page turner can feel ploddy when you look at it when it's assembled, and you have to kind of work out what you have to throw away without lopping off an arm. You have to have a perfect marble sculpture from all this material. All of us were very fond of the original Blade Runner film when we were working on the sequel, 2049. It helps very much that we all loved it and were very respectful to it. I screened the original film many times and, showed it to my assistants and the sound team. I watched it with them a lot. And in fact, during the shoot, me and Denny said it's our baseline. We should watch this film every 6 to 8 weeks just to kind of stay faithful to the spirit of it. I also felt a great kinship with the editor of the original film. Terry Rawlings was, like me, came from a sound background. He was a very formidable sound editor first. And I think he cuts in a very musical way, and I like the way he cuts. He tends to kind of avoid cutting, which is something I like to do. It doesn't mean to say I just sit there and look at it. It means that trying to restrain the number of times that you intervene in a scene so that the audience doesn't feel overly manipulated. There are lots of tips and tricks that I learned from my days writing music that have informed what I do. Some of them, for example, I remember working on music. You would work incessantly on something on a short loop, and you'd listen to it over and over and be working on the subtleties of the EQ between sounds and things. And then actually it took you to go out to the loo and come back down the corridor to actually appraise the music in a different way and stand back from it. And that's something that helps me in my approach with editing. It really helps, for example, to view it with other people, either my assistant or family and friends, or, ideally with a group of 300 or 400 people when you're ready to show it. I think Avid has just become the most reliable, and it's the best platform when you've got many different cutting rooms all sitting, feeding off this central edit. But no, I'm glad to work alongside Avid. In many ways, it's been a very, very reliable part of my editing career. The experience of a lot of people that have visited me when they get their first editing job is sometimes it takes them for a while to stop being an assistant editor. So they'll spend far too long doing the perfect bin structure and actually not concentrate on the story or the edit. And that's what you have to kind of, as an assistant, be prepared to turn around in your life, is leaving, deferring a lot of work away to other people, hopefully, and trying to concentrate on the ideas and the performance and the delivery of a good story, be it documentary or whatever it is, a drama or even a music video. You sort of want to concentrate on the delivery of that. That's your speciality now. I would advise people who want to get into editing to watch films, consume films, try and analyze, pick apart the ones that you're loving and even the ones that you're hating, to say, how does it work? And even a bad film is a really useful thing to hone those skills, because you can come out of the movie theatre and say, well, how would I have done it better? What could I have done to that story that would have made it better? And in precise terms, It's not just about saying, well, I would have recast somebody, or you can't do that. Let's imagine you're editing it. What would you do? Was there too much dialogue? Would you like to have some scenes conveyed more visually, non-verbally, maybe cut some dialogue out? Would you have wanted the pace to have increased at a certain point? You can dry run editing in your head. It's the great joy of it. It's a combination of being technically skilled and having an eye of what audiences want, a good story.